Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. Long Island Retro is one of my favorite shows. Knight, is this your first time here?
This is my first time being in Long Island, first time being at the Aviation Museum, first time being here at the Expo. So this is really cool.
Yeah.
I came in the doors and I was just mind blown, seeing all the different games, all the arcade stuff. And I was like, this is awesome. Because you think about it on paper, it's a really cool idea. The Aviation Museum and having a retro expo all in one place. I'm excited when you told me about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I've been coming back. So,
Yeah.
and also you all, the people, make this really fun.
Yes, thank
Made
you.
some really good friends. And
Yeah.
is this your first in-person panel?
Yeah, I would say so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm proud of you.
Okay.
Oh, no, I have no idea where that is. Okay. Oh, that's for
Oh.
later, which make sure to come to the panels later on. And if you don't know what's coming up in the schedule, there's an app, Event NY.
Yeah, you have the QR codes laying around the place. Yeah.
So you can check out what's happening. But because this is like the first panel of the show, so I always like to make sure we shout out like the whole weekend and everything that's going on.
Absolutely.
But this panel is
Yes.
about streaming retro games, playing to preserve.
Yes.
Knight had this really cool idea of doing a panel where we talk about how to stream retro games, why streaming retro games is important. And so let's just get into it.
Yeah, at
let's
this
just get
point,
into
we're
it.
already here.
Yeah. So, hi. My name is Ash. I stream on Twitch as Ash Said Hi. Also upload like YouTube videos, TikTok, all the stuff that people usually do. I've been doing this since March of 2019. I'm also a Twitch ambassador, and I also lead the Twitch Women's Unity Guild. So what that is, it's like basically a group where we help amplify voices for marginalized genders and talk about representation in the space and, celebrate all of the different voices that love to create content. And I have been streaming retro games since I started. That's usually what I focus on. Sometimes indie games as well and Nintendo consoles. And I love teaching people how to stream retro games and why it's important, and have a good time either making new memories about games I've never played before or reliving our favorites. So that's what I do on Twitch.
Yeah, and I'm Knight. I've been doing it for about 10 years or so, streaming on Twitch. I've done speed running, I've done challenge runs, first playthroughs, and specifically when I do first playthroughs, I want the authentic experience. I don't want anybody telling me anything. I want to go into it just like how we did when we set the television and ourselves playing the game. And I've done, like I said, I do speedrunning. I've speedrun Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the Super Nintendo, Clay Fighter, Mad City, the Famicom version of Bayou Billy. I was just at a GDQ event in January, and that was a lot of fun. And I just done a mix of everything. And over the years, I ran into Ash, and very happy to do this panel finally.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're good friends. We always talk about video games, so it's good to be able to do this in person together. So
Absolutely.
let's show what we're gonna be talking about today. So, hello. I don't know if y'all can see that. Okay. Now we got the awkward stuff out of the way, the mistakes. We can all laugh now. So today we want to talk about how games are at risk to be buried in the sands of time unless we can stop it, find out ways to preserve classic games, broadcast them, do short form videos, any kind of thing you can do online to share the experience of retro gaming.
And basically, it's to really drive home the point that we have to keep people playing games, no matter what generation it is. As long as we keep playing the games, it doesn't matter if it's on an emulator, if it's playing on the Switch Online. We're using EverDrives, we're using original hardware. It's important to keep playing them because it keeps the history alive.
Yeah, and I think it's also important, especially for people studying game design. Like nowadays, like where are you drawing your inspiration from? How are we telling those stories? And how are we making sure that we're, keeping ourselves inspired to create,
Absolutely.
So I think that's another reason why it's good. And also a lot of indie games today, like when you see elements of how they work, like it's like, oh, this came from this game, but then also how can we mix this to create like a new experience? So that's why I think it's really important to preserve. And also disc rot's a thing, and these games sadly might not last forever. So
No, absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's a big reason why we want to talk about the importance of gaming preservation. So why do you think it's important? Yeah.
Well, I think there's different aspects, not just like the physical games, but also preserving the experiences that you play retro games. Because I know, like, things often shift how we play games and how we approach things. I mean, now it's like, oh, I have how many games in my Steam library, but when you gotta have like different purpose and different reason to keep playing the games and preserving them. So I think there's that aspect, and also, like you said, learning the different things you can learn from, especially as a game developer. And like I said, the experience, the soundtracks, everything. It's just, I think, is very important.
So do you think that like streaming is like the best way, or do you think that there are other methods that we can do to like record the gameplay experience? Like how do you think like it's good to share this? Like, do you think like YouTube over streaming, or like maybe what's like the why is one, like, what's the strength of one versus the other?
That's a great question, Ash. And for me, it depends. Like, if you're looking for an experience, I think live streaming is the way to go. You're watching a first playthrough. How long is it going to take this person to get through? Because you're having the element of storytelling, and it makes the experience of playing or watching the game very different than if you were to go on YouTube and you were just seeing someone do a walkthrough.
Yeah.
Or you're
like a let's play, a long play.
Right.
So
Exactly.
for anybody who doesn't know what a long play is, typically it's when somebody records their gameplay. Sometimes there's no voiceover and they're just straight recording what you're experiencing. So it's like somebody like literally playing the game, recording on broadcasting software, usually something called OBS, which is open broadcast software, where they can use that to record their screen, and then they'll hook up their console or, capture from their emulator, and then literally just play the game, sometimes without voiceover and sometimes with it, right?
Right.
So they can give their perspective, and those are great ways, especially if you maybe are playing the game for the first time and you're like, how do I get past this part? And you don't want to read like a FAQ. You can go to a video and then kind of like.
And to bounce back on the YouTube, I mean, I know I was just talking about how, live streaming experience, but what's unique about also doing like YouTube videos is that they also give the background, the history. They give you snapshots of what was happening when this game came out and why it was so impactful. And I think that's also another aspect, is that now we can go back and tell the stories that can stay alive in history because those videos are out on the internet.
Yeah, and I can also say, like, recently I did a solo presentation of the Commodore Amiga, right? And when I was doing my research on like why was the Commodore Amiga important, so for anybody who doesn't know, the Commodore Amiga, which you can see downstairs in the museum section, it's very cool. Make sure to go to check it out. It's a computer system that came out in the mid 80s. It was developed here in the United States by Commodore, and it was more popular in Europe. But the more research I did, right? Like I was going through YouTube videos and articles and like all this kind of stuff. I was like learning that I actually didn't know as much as I thought about it. But like all of the people who had taken the painstaking time of recording from the Amiga or like doing voiceover, like stories, like you said, is how I learned.
Right.
So the one day when disc rot sets in and I can't have access to that, we have like misters and emulators and stuff like that. Like that's how I was able to get all of my information.
Right.
So that was awesome.
Yeah. I think it's just so many, like, especially today, there's just so many different ways to experience a original, like you said, original hardware, the Mr. FPGA, and
What's a Mr. FPGA?
Mr. FPGA. It's basically, if you guys aren't familiar with a Mr. FPGA is, if you guys know what FPGA consoles are, that you can plug in the cart, whatever. But with the Mr. is it has a little SD card, pop it in, and you can play multiple different things like arcade games, Super Nintendo, Sega, Amiga.
Yeah.
A lot of different things. But what's special about this little device, it plays just in the bounds and just like the original hardware.
So it's like basically hardware emulation as close as you can get.
Absolutely. And it's not even maybe half the size of this little Sprite can right here.
Yeah.
And
it's like a mini computer almost.
Pretty much, yeah. And it plugs in USB. So if you want to plug in your arcade stick, you can plug in the original controllers. You want to get the original experience. You can take the video signal. You can put it in a CRT.
Yeah.
all in one thing.
It's pretty cool. The Mr. FPGA project is open source and people develop for it all the time, which is another aspect of preserving retro games that's super important.
Right.
Is all of the work people are doing to like decode games, emulate them, like backup ROMs and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff like that. So that is a huge part of preserving games. And then with the Mister, the cool thing is like it hardware reconfigures itself to be as close to the actual hardware as possible. So you're getting a pretty authentic experience,
Exactly.
and it's affordable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to find overdrives for everything, it's like a one-stop shop. So I highly recommend a Mystery, especially as someone who speedruns and really looks at the specs and technicalities of being accurate. I think it's very important that we have a device like the Mystery. We didn't have something like that. Even like the Retro Tank, like the upscaler.
Yeah. What's a retro tank?
Retro Tank.
Every time he says something that I think you might not know, I'm gonna be like, "What is that?"
Yeah, please do, because
Because there might be
I
people
just,
here who don't know what it is.
Yeah. So what the Retro Tank is, so basically, I don't know, about 5 years ago, maybe it came out or so, the Retro Tank basically is taking your console, let's say you have a Super Nintendo, for example, and it can take S-Video, it can take, the little yellow, white, and red cables.
Composite cables?
Those composite cables.
Composite cables.
And it basically line doubles it. So it takes the 480p, and you can put it into a modern TV,
Yeah.
and you're able to play it with no latency. Now, you may look at me and go, well, what's the big deal about latency? If you go and you plug in your hardware, your Super Nintendo, into an HD TV like this, for example, you can play it, and you'll get used to like the little bit of latency you might have. But when you put the Retro Tank in, it can be a different experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So latency is very important for somebody like a speedrunner.
Exactly.
Right,
yes.
because if I press that button and it doesn't act when I need it to act, oh, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Ooh, we are in trouble. Hey, you want to move on to the next slide?
We can.
Let's do it.
I mean, I
Although,
think we're just going to have a nice conversation about this.
I kind of like, I'm biased. I made the slide, so I picked all my favorite RPGs.
I did. I couldn't say no. 'Cause I would have got the stare,
Retro games as interactive history and memories.
Yeah, I think this is kind of important to harp on too, because
I want to hear you harp.
you want to hear me harp?
Yeah.
I can play for you. But no, it's interactive history, especially the people who've never experienced retro games before. There are people who've only experienced maybe the Nintendo, but they never played like a Sega game or a Genesis game. Instead of just reading about it and watching people play it, I think it's way more important for it to be interactive and just experiencing it, whether it's the first playthrough and just looking at it and trying to understand, wow, at this year, this is what the graphics were, this is what the music was like. And then you do the sequel, you would say the difference between like Streets of Rage 1 going to 2 and 3, you see like this change in how they the development of it,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think events like this especially are personifications of interactive history.
Right.
Would you say you agree?
I agree with it, because everything you go to, like I was going through the exhibit downstairs, there was a whole line of NESs and CRTs going down, and I saw Ninja Gaiden too. I couldn't help myself. I played a little bit of that. So,
Are you learning the speed run for that?
no, I'm not, but I did do a lot of no death runs. So it was pretty fun to revisit.
Speaking of no death runs, Knight is doing a run of GoldenEye right now.
Yeah.
Notice that there's a GoldenEye event
I was
happening
just going to
here.
bring that up because I
Oh.
saw the challenge and I'm like, what's the level going to be?
What is the challenge?
Please not jail, right? Bunker 2.
You know what? I do want to talk about interactive history because,
Yeah.
like, even especially at a show like this, right, where you have people like Frank Cifaldi who are coming in and talking about like the history of gaming. It's really important for us to like recognize like there's a lot of cool like tidbits of things that happen throughout gaming history that. Until you like see it in person, you're like,
Right.
what? I didn't even know that happened. Like, for example, there was a panel last year about this sewing machine that came out for the NES.
What?
I believe.
A sewing machine?
Yeah, a sewing machine.
How do they stitch that one together?
2 years ago. Thank you for that. Yeah, it feels like last year. Time is just going by so fast. But yes, yeah. So I thought that was really cool. But also having resources like the Video Game History Foundation. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
having that to be able to go back and look at all of the magazines, the Game Pros, the EGMs, like the Nintendo Powers, having all of that as an archive that we can access, so that way we don't lose. Like, how did people write about these stories in the time when they were happening? What was the current events? What did it feel like for the first time you saw like a Sega Genesis game or a Super
Right.
Nintendo game, or the jump between pixels to 3D? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you can't really, you can look at that on paper and you could be like, oh yeah, it's a jump. But like when you actually play the games, you go in order. I think that's the thing too, interactive history. You know, you're going from Super Mario, you know, Mario 2, Mario 3, and then you go to Super Mario 64, it's a whole different jump.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it's important that even though we may know it and we may have experienced it in our lifetime, I think it's good to always, you know, always push that history and that information for the next generation, because I think that's extremely important. I mean, I don't know about you, but like, I just feel like retro gaming is very emphasizing on like history and making sure people know stuff. I mean, you go over YouTube, all these videos are producing.
Yeah. But like, what do you ever wonder like why people might think like people might look at games that we talk about all the time,
Right.
like, and be like, well, games nowadays, they're so much better. Like, the graphics are better. I don't have to play this kind of also. Like, why do you think that it's important in the first place for us to be like, no, like, we can't lose this. Like, this is something that we have to make sure we teach the future generations about.
And I don't think it's about teaching or harping on or gatekeeping. I think it's a lot of what pathway can we get them to go there?
Yeah.
So like, for example, you know, there might be people like, oh, my first Mario game was on the Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
Well, how about we take them down the road of, well, check out these older games. This is
Yeah.
how it got there in the first place. And then we want the curiosity factor.
The curiosity, I think, is important.
Because they could go down the rabbit hole like we all did. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We found one thing and go, oh, this RPG? Oh my gosh, there's 8, 9, 10 of them. It wasn't a Final Fantasy now. You know? They lied. But no, I feel like that's what we need, is to lure them into the rabbit hole versus being like, well, instead of cutting them off.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's beautiful about events like Long Island Retro Expo. We're like open arms. Come on in. Come play games.
I love that term you used of not gatekeeping information.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced like people saying like, oh, well, if you don't know everything about this, like you're not really a gamer. You don't really know.
I have, and also even age, especially too. It's like, oh, well, you weren't
Really?
around for some certain things. Like if it's like, you know, it's crazy, because the whole thing is that, you know, there's no limits
Yeah.
to playing a retro game.
I'm gonna ask the audience a question.
Yeah, what do you got?
How many of you all create content for retro gaming? Okay, like that's like most of the room.
Okay.
Sort of. You do?
Wait, raise your hands high. Who rates
Oh, all right.
content creation for retro games?
Yeah.
You do? No, I'm just kidding. By the way,
Wow.
that's our good buddy Finn over there sitting with us.
Yeah.
Very important person.
Yeah. So, okay, the reason why I was asking that, because I wanted to know, like, you know, everybody has a different approach to
Yeah.
how they stream retro games. Like for you do challenge runs, speed
Well,
runs.
it's changed over the years, but yeah. So like how I approach it is just, you know, first playthroughs. Like what I really wanted in the beginning was to do the first playthrough experience, not knowing anything. I wanted to get the experience that I missed out on because like maybe, you know, I didn't play any Genesis games. Break it to you guys, I played Sonic 2 for the first time maybe only a couple years ago because I didn't have a Genesis. And those are major games that people experience, but I never had the chance.
How long did you play Adventure Island?
83 days because my first playthrough. I didn't know about the Hudson Bee. No one could tell me about it. So I literally streamed it for 83 days playing Adventure Island. Hudson's Adventure Island for the NES. So that's 1cc. It's no continues and no code or nothing.
Yeah. Now, do you think experiencing the game that way with like no help, no internet, no backseating, which backseating for those who don't know is basically when people tell you how to play the game without asking your permission first. Do you think that that is a way of preserving the history and the experience of the game?
I think so because you get to experience what everyone else struggled through.
Yeah.
I'm sure, you know, the most popular one, you know, you go to the Water Temple in the Ocarina of Time. I'm sure we have a good time trying to figure that out. Obscure, trying to find the, what was it Star Tropics, when you had to find the code in the manual, right? If you didn't have the manual, you're done for. But
Yeah. Spoiler alert, by the way. Sorry if we spoiled that for you.
But no, I think it's what it does is I think people can walk in. You get to watch someone walk through it and go through it, and I think that's a whole other experience too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Awesome. I like your answers, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It's like I thought about it.
Methods to make classic games feel fresh. How do you make a game that's been around, like what we think is a lifetime for some of us, feel like new?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I think there's a lot of different things. We talked about speedrunning, first playthroughs, and things like that. I think those are wonderful. But what's even more cool is that besides how we play them, especially things like retro achievements. Have you guys ever heard of retro achievements before?
Ooh.
Every chance you heard retro achievements.
Hardware.
Are you serious?
So
Okay.
no.
Oh,
Okay.
how recent is that? How recently was it? Okay, that's fairly recent then, yeah.
I'm going to re-say what he said for those listening in on the recording. So
Yes.
basically what this awesome person just said is that for retro achievements, there is a device where you can hook up hardware so that you can earn retro achievements through playing the game through the hardware.
So what retro achievements is, for those who don't know?
You're learning.
I'm learning. So what retro achievements is basically, if you guys ever played like a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 or Xbox 360, you get the little achievements. It's like that, but for retro games. So they may doing a second loop of Castlevania, some crazy stuff, Deathless Super Castlevania. It's a fun way to get these retro achievements, and what the achievements do, they give you points, and then you have a whole leaderboard and you see all these names, and it basically makes it fun. And what it makes it so fun is that it gives you a different reason to play the game, because I think a lot of us may go through, play Super Mario, I don't feel in this one, you swap through different games. I've noticed that with people, especially as we get older, we just don't have the time for a lot of learning new stuff. So I feel like with retro achievements, it kind of pushes you and go, okay, I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
I got 48 out of 49 achievements. I got to get one more. So I got to beat this whole game deathless to do it.
Yeah.
I hear it all the time from our communities, especially about retro achievements. And I think that's such a great way to reintroduce it.
Yeah, I love retro achievements. I think it's a fun way to bring new life into the games that we're very familiar with. And also another thing that I really love, for anybody who knows what a randomizer is.
Yes, those are fun.
Randomizers are really, really fun. So if you're unfamiliar with that term, basically you can take a game and shuffle around the elements, whether it's what order you get items in, or what order you do dungeons or levels in, or maybe like change the sprite of the character you play as. It basically swaps around like all of the elements in the game, and you can set them to randomize a lot of the game or a little bit of the game, depending on what the game is. I know it's really popular for Link to the Past and Super Metroid.
And also there's one in particular that a lot of people don't know. There's actually a GoldenEye randomizer.
Really?
I've actually played it. And what it does is that they basically what the randomizer does, it replaces the enemy's weapons. It replaces what the enemy's skins are. So you could have the enemies look like scientists, for example, in your facility, right? You're running around and you don't know which one's an enemy and which one's a scientist. The worst I ever experienced, I was on the level train. If you guys don't know what the level train is from GoldenEye, it's a small condensed area full of these explosive boxes, and you're playing GoldenEye, but they all have rockets on the train.
My God.
So they're coming after you. Now, everybody has rockets. Oh, you have to save Natalia from Ormov? Good luck.
Yeah.
And then it starts, and it randomizes your starting weapon. So you might be having something like a throwing knife. You don't know.
Slappers only.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But the idea of, especially randomizers, retro achievements, all that kind of cool stuff, is like, for us, like, especially people who love retro games, like, yes, we love these things. They're classic. They're awesome. But it for a new audience, it might be like, well, why would I play this? Oh, this is a reason why I can do this. And especially as streamers, broadcasters, like, it makes for a really fun entertainment, which then keeps people engaged.
Yeah, and also it just gives you, it recreates a purpose to why you want to play and why you want to re-experience it. And, you know, that's the thing, is that there's so many different ways of doing things, like, you know, crowd control, for example.
Ooh, crowd control is awesome.
Yeah, it's a great thing. If you guys don't know what crowd control is, I mean, it's on different platforms, but we're probably more familiar on the Twitch platform. Basically, in crowd control, you can take, like, bits, that's the currency on Twitch, and you can exchange it for coins. And what's really neat about these coins, you can do it for charity events, you can do it for
yourself.
And what it does is that you take the coins, and you basically use it for real-time effects that happen in the game. Best example I give you, we're all familiar with Super Mario World. We all played the game. But imagine that you're playing Super Mario World, and you have your viewers or your chat, and they're changing things in real time. They can throw you a mushroom. They can throw you
A poison mushroom.
They can spawn enemies and just spawn them like crazy. Like, there have been times where the games crash because they just overfill everything in the game.
So it's really cool. They take real money and they troll you.
Right.
So you can either use that real money for yourself or for a charity, but it is a fun and interactive way to bring new life to classic games as we know it.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest part of this whole thing, to just round out this slide, is you know, whether you're doing a first playthrough, which that's what I really love to do, is like a game that I've never played before and then kind of like react in the moment. My favorite time doing that was playing Metal Gear Solid 1 for the first time ever. And everybody is like, Ash, wait till you get to this part. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I had to plug in a second player controller to figure out this boss. Spoiler alert. But it was really, really cool. But just seeing that reaction, right? Like, people get to live vicariously through you, because it's not like I can go and erase my memory of the first time I ever played Final Fantasy VI, which, by the way, traumatized me. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, you mean they actually die? Like, oh no, people actually died. That made me sad. But yeah, like, experiencing that for the first time and then seeing like the chat go wild was like really, really fun.
Or even like you're working on a game like Battletoads, for example. That was my first NES game beat, by the way.
Wow.
It was my first NES game I ever beat, and I didn't really experience the NES for a long time because we always had a Super Nintendo or something. And I played it for the first time. First NES game, and when I finally got through the turbo tunnel, then I got through the airplane section. If you guys played the game and you gotten that far, you know what I'm talking about. And when the moment I beat it, it was 44 days. I'm like, this feels amazing. The funny part is, I thought every game on the NES was like Battletoads.
No way.
I'm like,
wow.
Then I'm like, oh, Shatterhand isn't that bad. You know, these games aren't bad.
Silver Surfer's not that bad. Oh my God.
So you just gotta set the bar really low and your expectations are high, right?
Yeah. Did you go from that to Little Samson and then be like,
oh man.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, yeah, there's so many reasons why you want to make classic games feel fresh, but there's so many ways to do that.
It is. Like we said retro achievements, just speed running, first playthroughs, and even different like pieces of software and hardware devices that make it different for everybody.
Yeah. Really good stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
So how do you stream?
Well, you plant a seed. No, I'm joking.
Don't ask me why I put an Amiga CD32 there. I just randomly picked it.
We could get a quick rundown on.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It is a controller, all right. It is something. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So the good thing here, when we asked, a lot of people here do their own sort of content creation, whatever. But for anybody who's like, we could do like a really top level, like basic, like, okay, well, how do you stream? Well, if you want to get into broadcasting, I think the first thing before you even buy anything, a capture card or even a computer, if you don't have one dedicated to that and you want one dedicated to that, or consoles or whatever, is figure out your why. I think that's the most important thing.
I agree. I mean, it's why you do it. I mean, I know reasons change, especially over the years spent when you get into streaming and wanting to do this. For me, why I got into it was because it's fun and you get to play games and you get to experience things. I mean, I was gonna stream no matter if I was talking to a wall. That's how much I love playing games. But it's good to, and now you have a chance to share that with other people. And I think, But yeah, I think that's the thing. It's the why.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I think like you said, right? Knowing that I could be talking to a wall and I'm just gonna do it whether or not like people are there to listen. I think doing it for the love of I just want to experience the joy of these video games or just share my enthusiasm for it is really, really important. So I think figuring that part out first, because then that's going to help you guide where you want to go, right? Because if you figure out like, oh, I'm really passionate about the Atari Lynx. You know, I'm going to be the Atari Lynx broadcaster. You know, like there's a niche out there. There's somebody out there that's like, oh my God, I'm also an Atari Lynx fan too. But then the magic in that is connecting with those people and really building a solid community.
Right, exactly. I know it's kind of like when you play Oracle of Ages and you get stuck in a boss fight, right?
He's talking about me. He's talking about me.
But yeah, like you said, you're experiencing those things.
Yeah. So you find your people, you find what you want to do. And I've known people who have like started like a Twitch or a YouTube account and they just start by watching people that they really love and understanding like what their thought process is, whether it's I'm telling a story through like the visuals or like the gameplay, or if, you know, my stream is more interactive, or if it's just more like people are coming in and I'm doing this for the first time and my gameplay stinks, but we're having a good time and we're laughing. Like really figure out like what it is that you want to do. And once you've got that figured out, you download software.
Yeah, you download a lot of people. There's different types of streaming software. I use OBS Studio. That's, you know, it's probably the most reliable one.
It's free.
It's always being updated.
Yeah.
Because things do change, you know. Windows does update.
Yeah. And then the next thing that I would suggest is like it's not mandatory to have a camera, but I think it's mandatory to have good audio.
Absolutely. Having a good mic, you don't even need to have a good microphone's good, but you want a good sounding microphone. Doesn't mean there's different ways to tweak things. I know people who use cheap microphones or headsets, but they may have something like Voicemeeter where they make it sound better. There's different things you can do. You can fine tune things. You don't need to pull out a loan, to start streaming. You use what you got. That's the big thing.
I think that's an excellent point. I think a lot of people think that when you are creating content, whether it's live streaming or, pre-recorded, that you have to have like the best computer or like the best capture card, the best microphone, the best camera. And really like you can buy things that are affordable and then find software solutions to make it optimized.
Yeah.
And then once you start like, hey, maybe I made a few dollars doing a sponsored broadcast, or like a company is like seeing my work and they're supporting me. Maybe they send me a microphone or they send me like a camera. Like you work your way up to things. And it's also more satisfying, I think, to see the progression.
Absolutely. And like you said, you don't need to have a camera. It can help, especially if like you, for example, you have a collection, you have a bunch of plushies to talk about. It makes talking points.
Yeah.
And, a little bit about yourself and your personality. But I know successful streamers who don't use cameras and they do a great job of what they do because they lean into their strengths.
Yeah. Leaning into your strengths. That's really key. Like, are you good at showcasing gameplay? So maybe you might look at challenge running or speed running, or people either want to be entertained or they want to be educated.
Absolutely.
I think.
And they want something to follow along with too. I mean, anybody can sit there and go through Super Mario Brothers, right? But okay, I'm going to do this with not dying and taking warps. Okay, that might be a little different. And, you might see somebody work on it for a week and you watch the progression. There's just different reasons why people watch you. So don't ever feel like, oh, I'm not good or my voice stinks or whatever the excuse is. You want to lean into what you're passionate about and lean into, like I said, your strengths and who you are. Are you funny? Do you Are you serious? Are you knowledgeable? People look for different things. And like you said earlier, there's an audience for everything.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really, really, really satisfying when you can find that audience. So, okay, so we've covered get the equipment.
Right. Yeah.
Get the OBS Studio or Meld or, Streamlinks or
XSplit.
Yeah, like you get the
We
software.
went through our philosophy.
Yeah, I went through philosophy. It's very important. Then you can either do capture through your console or you can do through your PC. And then what are we missing? Anything else?
Like if you're doing through your console, you're going to want something like a capture card.
Yeah.
Or especially if you're using retro consoles, you want to use like some type of upscaler, maybe a retro tank. Those are very popular. Yeah, they can be expensive. Yeah, I heard that. It's expensive. It can be. There's other alternatives, but I'm really a big fan of the retro tank. I had it when it came out.
Yeah.
You gotta just put it all together. You gotta have sound. That's the big thing too, especially for a game. I use line-in audio. I feel like it's easier and it comes right from the source.
And then you just start.
Yeah,
I think
basically.
that's it. Like, honestly, like one of the biggest things I think that stops people is feeling like everything has to be perfect. But I aim for 90% and just like figure it out.
You know me, I'm like, all right, I guess we're just gonna do it. Just show up.
Just do it. Just
Show
do
up.
it. So wait, how much time do we have? We have like 20 minutes for questions.
I mean, anything you guys want to ask us or talk about, we're here. Like me and Ash are here because number one, we like this event. I'm really enjoying it. It's my first time, but I'm loving it already.
I'm so glad you came. Yeah.
And you have us here. I mean, you got a Twitch ambassador, leaders of Women's Guild. You got me, who's been streaming for 10 years. I've been through every setup possible.
Yeah, I have learned so much from Night. Like, seriously, all my camera technique and all that stuff, lighting, all that.
Here's the 20 now. I'm going to slip you for saying that.
Wow. I saw you raise your hand first. What's your question?
Yeah, so one thing I want to do if I were to ever get into streaming,
Yeah.
one thing I've always wanted to do in particular was showcase a bunch of random games that no one has, that people kind of don't really bat their eyes to when they look at a certain time. Like, oh, here's this random Famicom RPG that no one has ever heard of. Or, oh, here's this random Atari Jaguar game that people didn't bat an eye at. Or, like, some other, like a Wonderswan Color game.
Yeah.
Some other game that people of the modern era don't think of
Yeah.
when they look at like a certain console's library.
Yeah. So are you saying like, is that something you should do or?
Something you thought about doing?
Something I eventually want to segue my way into after I do a bunch of more like common and well-known games like your Mario's, your Zeldas.
So I think that's an excellent idea. I mean, you already sold it to me because I think the more obscure games, like, especially if you're passionate and knowledgeable about it, people are like, what is this? They get curious, right? And I think that is definitely a great way to go because you will find people, especially in the retro community.
Yeah, especially like if you stream on Twitch. I'm not trying to, pump them up, but we have a really awesome retro category. We have a lot of great streamers and people. And they play all different kinds of stuff. It's not just the main hits.
Yeah.
They play things like what you're describing.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is that, number one, just go and do it.
Yeah.
And number two, if you're not sure how to start or, well, which game should I play, make it into a challenge.
Yeah.
Say, I got these obscure games. I'm going to get through, let's say there's 50 of them or something. And that keeps you going and committed to like, okay, we got to do this, however times you have time for. And I think it's the thing too. You do it a couple days a week. You don't need to do it every day.
Oh, that's another thing we didn't talk about was like consistency and schedule.
Yeah.
And it's really important, I think, for
I learned that.
for your audience. It's important to have consistency. And look, we know people have children, they have jobs, they have lives and all that stuff. You can't build your life around your streaming schedule. But what I would say is if you can be consistent, even if it's one day a week where everyone knows, okay, at Saturday at 8 p.m., I'm going to tune in and watch the MR Night channel, which I still don't know how to pronounce his name. By the way, he'll never tell me. I know that that's exactly when it's going to be. They'll know to always come to your channel for that because you're essentially building a third space. But I think that that's an excellent idea. I would highly encourage you to do it. Like, there was somebody streaming MSX games.
Yeah.
Like somebody that I really love plays like only MSX. You know what I'm saying?
And if you, the other things, I don't mean to like go off the other, but what I'm saying is that stream it. And also, if you have really cool clips, you see any cool glitches,
Yeah.
put them on YouTube Shorts, use TikTok, use Instagram. I know it's like a lot of work to do it, but if you will find them. They make it, Twitch makes it so easy now. You can just literally
Like
clip
press a
it.
button and upload
Yeah,
it.
and press the button, upload it to your thing, and it doesn't hurt to try anything. You can throw 1,000 things at the wall.
Yeah.
Because
I
one
say
was gonna work.
go for it. And I
Yeah.
can't wait to see your channel. Please
Yeah.
let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I saw a question in the back there.
Right.
Does anybody have a question? Did you have a
the
question?
green?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sure was.
What?
What?
Yeah.
You
Round
gotta
of
tell us
applause,
more.
everybody, please.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So for anyone who's listening in on the recording, he was saying that I inspired him to stream,
Yes.
and that is
incredible.
like the highest top tier comment, a compliment I could ever receive. What was your first thing that you broadcast?
Yeah.
I
That's
love
good.
that.
I love that philosophy.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, and my response to that is you can't always fear what's not going to work. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I love
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. I heard that
Yeah.
wrong. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely prepare for the inconsistencies, and
Yeah.
there's so much out of your control, and I think that is a healthy approach to just know, you know what, I tried my best today, I did my best. Some days are going to be great, some days aren't, and that's just the way it is.
And-
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we appreciate that.
No,
we
we-
appreciate your comment, and of course, like focusing on the good
That's
elements.
why we
is
love having
always-
questions, because we get to hear from you guys and your stories, because we don't have time to do this all the time.
I know.
It's really fun.
I'm glad we get to do this today.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll have to come by and check it out. Awesome. All right. Any other questions? I see a question over here. Wow.
All right. GG.
Good luck with Cuphead.
Question-
Love that.
Other questions?
Yeah. What's up? I'm good. How you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think as long as you let people know, yeah, I don't think there's any reason why you shouldn't use whatever is accessible to you. Because anybody who like says, "Oh, you're not using like the real thing, or you're emulating or whatever," like these things are expensive. You know what I'm
They are.
saying? And right, yeah, they're expensive and it's hard to find, and you know, what's really important is preserving the gaming experience. So if that's what's right for you and what's accessible for you, you should do it that way.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
I'm using Switch Online to play Oracle of Ages.
That's right.
Yeah. Which is what he was making fun of me for.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You in the black shirt? Hi. Sure. Okay.
Thank you for watching. By the way, that was one of the most fun things that I've ever done. So
You're
basically,
like a detective almost.
I
You know.
know. So if you're
Like, all
wondering,
right, chat, where are we going with this one?
I know. Is it real or is it a repro? So what he's talking about is the other day I discovered that my childhood copy of Secret of Mana was actually a repro because it wouldn't hold the save data anymore. And I had swapped the battery out and it still wouldn't hold the save data. So then I started looking up what the board in the game was supposed to look like and found out, to my sadness and very sad, disappointed childhood life, that it was indeed a repro. So I don't know if it was always a repro, if my game got swapped out or what happened. But yeah, so what ended up happening was I was like, no, I got to go through every game. And then we were going through like every board and then we were making it interactive. Like, do you think this one's going to be a repro? But yeah, no, I think that's a really great question. For me, what I love doing is showcasing like specifically the Amiga, right? Like showcasing the actual computer. And I recently did like a solo panel on like the history of the Amiga and stuff like that. I think that that's important. And also like attending events like they just did Amiga 40 because it's the 40-year anniversary of that computer's release, like events like that. And going to things like MagFest when they have like, and then events like this where
Right.
they showcase the history. But for me, it's usually, let me take this console and show it to you and talk about it. Oh, and also talking about Nintendo Power. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like showcasing any of the magazines like via stream or maybe through a TikTok. Like
Yeah.
also on TikTok, I've been taking Super Nintendo game manuals and making videos of those.
Because
So that's been really fun.
especially with physical things too. I
Yeah.
know we get a lot of stuff like Switch Online, and I think that's important because like I don't have any of that stuff, and I think that's important that you showcase all Nintendo Power magazines and the instruction manuals because, like, let's face it, when we ever got games in the box, we threw it out. I mean, it's terrible
Yeah.
that we look back at it now and we're like, geez, we're just throwing money in the trash can. But
Are
I
there
think that's
any
important.
external ways that you showcase history of games?
External. I can't really think of one right now. I'm trying to think. There's just so many.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
many, but
you focus more on like doing the challenge runs and speed runs.
Yeah,
Just showing off the gameplay as it was experienced when it first happened.
Yeah, I think in that way. Like, I never was a physical collector. I mean, I maybe collect things that maybe mean something to me, like, certain games or certain things. But I think I try to preserve the gaming experience because sometimes that can get lost too. How originally a game was played.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I like it. Thank you. That was a good question. Thank you for watching. Yes. Yeah, no, cool. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, that's a good question for those who are watching the recording. It's what kind of accommodations do we have to make to broadcast older games? And yeah, so the capture card to the retro ting.
Right, and also it depends. Like some consoles, they didn't have composite signal. Sometimes you have to either modem or they have some type of converter
Yes.
that you can use. There's a lot right now, especially right now. There's so many different things you can do to take older consoles and hardware. It doesn't matter what revision it was of the console. You can find ways to take an RF signal. You can
Yeah.
do different things.
Yeah, there's actually a vendor downstairs called Eon that sells like a device that you can use to hook up your GameCube to get, I think they do HDMI out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one way to do it. The RetroTink 2X. I have a 2X, but
Yeah.
they go as high as HD right now.
Yeah.
So the RetroTink is basically a box, like a device that, does it use FPGA?
FPGA? No, the RetroTink uses HDMI signal.
No, but does the 5, I think the 5X uses, the 5X
Oh,
uses
yeah,
it.
does it? Okay.
So the 5X and above uses FPGA to Does it upscale or line double?
It's line doubling.
Line doubling. Okay.
Well, just to clarify, 2x and 5x and
They do different things. So there's devices like the RetroTink. There's the FrameMeister and the OCCS. There's a bunch of ways
those
to do
were
it.
used before the RetroTink.
Yeah. So there's that, and also we talked about the Mister FPGA earlier.
Yeah.
Which is basically like a mini computer that hardware reconfigures itself to
So
be able to play.
Now, if you
those
play a
games.
lot of like obscure like computer games and stuff like that, the Mister might be up your alley.
Yeah.
Because what's neat about it, if you guys aren't, I guess we explained the Mister earlier, but basically it's this little device, and basically you take a little SD card and you put everything in there, and it has separate cores in it, so it does like Amiga and all this stuff. But what's really neat about it is that you can either use an HDMI plug into a modern gaming monitor, and there's no latency coming from the Mister, whatever the latency is going to be on your TV. It can also go into a CRT as well. So there's analog and there's also digital.
Yeah.
So you can go both ways. You can take like a USB or take a keyboard, and you can recreate it just by using the Mister even.
Yeah. So there's that, but all of those different devices, I think the best method for me is the video capture card and the RetroTink. That's like my favorite way to do it.
There's so many options. So many
Yeah,
options.
and so many options that are like cost effective. There's also this really cool company that makes something called a Game Boy Operator, and basically it's a device that uses USB-C, and you can plug it into your computer, and then you can put your cartridge into it, and then you can like you can back up your ROM and your saves through it, and then actually play the game through their software. So they're making a Super Nintendo version. I don't think that's released yet, but the Game Boy one is out, and it's like $50. It's really awesome. Yeah. So, hopefully they don't find out. Anyway, what's your question? Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Record the screen. Cool. Yeah. And that's all you need, right? That's all you
know what
need.
also really helps too, if you go and watch people who are doing something similar to you, because you can maybe learn or feel inspired
Yeah.
by watching that person.
Yeah.
And maybe you can make something of like, that's how that's how we all get inspired. We watch each other.
You inspired me.
I inspired you?
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh gosh, no.
Oh my gosh. I think we have time for like one more question, and then that's it. That's the panel. We can keep going. Oh, we got the green light to keep going. Okay, we can answer these
Got someone in
questions.
the back there.
Oh yeah, what's your question? Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
the person behind
Behind
you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know,
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
I think that's like a case by case basis when stuff goes.
Yeah.
You kind of like, so, oh, my controller's not working. Then you're like, okay, I got options. I can gamble and try to find someone who sells a controller, right? You don't know. It's always a risk. Or what I did is you learn how to do it yourself. You take apart the controller, you take the toothbrush, you scrub it, and you try to make sure all the buttons and stuff, and it feels like a brand new controller. So I think it really depends on the situation, whether you want to learn how to fix it yourself, or maybe you find people who want to repair it, and maybe because you don't trust it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you, Ash?
I think, honestly, I mean, there's not much we can do with aging hardware other than carefully take care of it as best as we can. I mean, like for me, when I'm done with every broadcast, every time I'm done streaming, I disconnect everything and I put it back like where it is on my shelf or in the closet. And I just try to keep it safe because these things are like, they're precious to me. So I am very careful about that kind of stuff. But there, honestly, there's not much you can do. When a disc is gonna rot, a disc is gonna rot, and then that's gonna be it. But that's why the Mister
Yeah.
was like, Knight literally sold me on that idea. He was like, Ash, it keeps your console safe
Yeah.
from wear and tear because you could just do everything through the Mister and then
Right.
not have to worry about putting all the stress on your
and,
stuff.
and that's because the reason I even started doing that was because I would use the Mister for like, practices where I'm exploring stuff. But when it came to like doing world record runs, I'm like, all right, I got to use the original console now.
Yeah.
So it's preserving it,
But use it when you need to.
Right,
For
exactly.
speed running is probably the best time.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your question. That was really good. Yes. Okay. I mean, I think that any way that we can get people interested in those like franchises is awesome. You know what I'm saying? So like, for example, Ninja Gaiden just came out with that new game.
Yeah, Ragebound.
Yeah, which is awesome, by
Yeah.
the way.
I haven't played it yet. Is it
Right?
good?
It's good.
That's
it's
what I hear.
good. Yeah. So, I mean, it gets people curious about the past. Like, where did this game come from? Like, maybe they might have known or might not have known. Or maybe they're like lapsed, right? Like, they're like, oh man, this is cool. I forgot about this. Now let me get back into some of the other games. So I think that they're awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that, especially for new studios, it allows them to create a game with the safety of something that's already kind of like known. And anything that can keep game studios going, especially with the way the game.
Absolutely.
World is now.
Like you said with remasters,
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? Oh gosh, Link's Awakening, right?
Yeah.
That got a remaster.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But what's great about that, when things like that happen, some people may or may not be happy with the way it is, but it also gets people curious what the other one was like too.
Yeah.
So like you said, what we talked about earlier was the rabbit hole, right? We got to
Yeah.
see, are people interested in figuring out and looking to see what the whole series is like? Like you said, the Ninja Gaiden game and going back to the originals. I think that's the whole thing of it, is just getting people interested and wanting to go backwards as much as they want to look forwards.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think that's a good answer.
Thanks.
Good answer. Good
Thanks.
answer. All right. So I think now. Oh,
Yes.
you have a question.
or-
Oh my God. I thought you were saying like 5 minutes or whatever. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. What is your question?
Staff badge in the back.
Yeah. Oh. Yes. Oh my gosh. So you'd be surprised. Like, I actually did a career day for a school in the Bronx earlier this year.
I did not know this.
You did not know this. Yeah. One of my friends asked me, she's a teacher, she asked me to do it. And that is one of the most requested things for like a career day. Like, it's one of the careers that kids nowadays want to go into the most. I would say if they want to get into it, right? There's so much about content creation that people don't understand. This is an entrepreneurial job. This is a job where you have to wear many hats. You have to be a writer. You have to be a strategist. You have to be a marketer.
Yep.
You have to know like you have to be able to speak in front of an audience, public speaking. So that means I do a lot of writing.
Yeah.
I do a lot of like ideation, and I do a lot of collaborative work. And collaborating with people that's a skill, right?
It is. And, I always use a comparison like being a musician, right?
Yeah.
It's always, treat it like a hobby and, slowly maybe insert it more in your life. But you got to be very passionate about it. You got to, love what you're going to do. And I think the biggest thing too is that it's a creative outlet too, which is great. And you want to surround yourself with people who are actually going to encourage you too.
I think that's a good point. Like, definitely surround yourself with people who will make you better and lift you up. But also realize that there are very, very real skills that go into this. I have a degree in advertising, and my degree in advertising has helped me be able to market myself and create a vision for how I want my channel to be perceived and how I want to emotionally connect with people. And there's a lot of strategy that goes in that. So I would say if they are aspiring to do that, like, tell them, like, read books about marketing, read books about advertising, social media strategy, like, practice those things.
And also like look at other streamers and how they do, watch them. I have a degree in media production, so I was documentary focused a lot. So when I look at streams, I look at storytelling. I want to know what they're doing and what their goal is. And so you may be seeing people speed run or try to get to certain things and goals. And I think that's important too, is you want purpose.
Yeah, and that goes into the technique of how you do your videography or how you do your sound. Like there's a lot of sound engineering, video engineering. So I'm telling you, like they've got to be prepared to wear a lot of hats, but also it's one of those things where you are self-reliant, so you have to have that discipline. So that's I know that's a lot, but that's what I would say to somebody wanting to get into it.
We're gonna be wrapping up here.
We're gonna wrap up here. I just want to say thank you so much for like being here and hearing us yap about
thanks guys.
all these cool things and being here at Long Island Retro. Thank you so much, y'all.
And I want to thank Long Island Retro Expo for having me my first time. So this is awesome. I get to enjoy the convention too. So.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for coming. All right.